Texas state officials have proposed raising licensing fees for some hemp businesses. The new proposal would also significantly limit the inventory shops are legally allowed to carry. GMAT's Emma Kay joins us now for a full breakdown on the proposal and who it affects most. Emma?
The new proposal is part of a larger movement by the Department of State Health Services tightening THC regulations. Right now, the annual fee for retailers to sell the products is $150. Under the proposal, it would be $20,000. Right now, the annual fee to manufacture consumable hemp is $250 per facility. The new proposal would raise that fee to $25,000. With the rise in retail fees, it would be a combined increase of over 13,000%. Small businesses across the state say they're worried about keeping their doors open.
I understand regulating it better. I understand maybe even taxing it differently. I don't understand putting us out of business with a fee that we cannot pay. What did I do wrong that they would do this to me for?
The proposal would also ban smokable and edible products, significantly limiting inventory and eliminating the use of the hemp flower because it naturally contains higher levels of THC than the new limit. Supporters say this is necessary to strengthen oversight on an industry they say has grown out of control. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick has long called for a full ban on THC. In a statement made back in September, Patrick said, quote, "These are the same people who have been selling dangerous THC products to kids and teens for the last 4 years in thousands of locations across Texas." Right now, it's unclear when the Texas Health and Human Services Commission will make a final decision on the proposed regulations. The department is accepting public comment on the proposed changes until January 26th. Deanna, back to you.
All right, Emma, thanks.